This hot take is going to be a little bit different. It's probably something we've never really talked about before, which is actually talking about other basketball podcasts and other basketball commentators and what their thoughts are on the NBA and the players in the NBA. And I sent you a link earlier, to have a look at, which we'll have a quick look at now. And I'm going to put it obviously with this video too, so everyone can have a quick watch. And then we'll come back to this in a sec.
Carmelo is the most overrated NBA player ever.
We have to stop letting just anybody talk basketball nowadays. Not only is Carmelo Anthony not overrated, but he's actually one of the most underrated players ever. I watched the dude's rant, so you don't have to. He goes on to talk about all these calculations that he pulls from his spreadsheet or his calculator about points per 100 possessions, box plus minus, whatever he can use to discredit Carmelo Anthony. But he fails to mention how only 8 dudes in NBA history have scored more points than Carmelo Anthony. He fails to mention how Melo played with 3 All-Stars during the first 14 years of his NBA career in Denver and New York, where he was an All-Star 10 times. He fails to mention how Carmelo Anthony was doubled and triple teamed pretty much every night in Denver and New York because of the lack of his supporting cast for the majority of those years. But it's so obvious that when people speak like this, they weren't there watching the games. So I don't know. We got to figure out how to take the mics away from people like this, man. And that's the narrative I'm controlling today. Stop watching basketball through calculators and spreadsheets. Wild concept nowadays, it seems like.
So I don't know what you thought about this post, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Because let's be clear here, I'm not here to talk about Carmelo Anthony. All right. This topic is not about Carmelo Anthony. It could be any player that's used in this example. And we all have our favorite players and, favorite teams. And we all support them and we all back them and we all say they're the greatest. And then, whatever, we obviously, we talked about this in an earlier podcast, a lot of fans out there would go to war for LeBron. Yeah, you said a bad thing about LeBron, they'd probably come and burn your house down. Let's all ban against this guy because he said, oh, holy moly, MJ is greater than LeBron. Yeah. But here we have is a recording that I'm going to take 4 statements from it, which is, no, it's not a long recording, okay? But there are 4 statements here that really made me roll my eyes. And I guess I'd like to hear your 2 cents after I've shared mine. The first statement here was that we have to stop anybody just talking basketball nowadays. 1, wow, okay. 2, it's so obvious when people speak like this and it's obvious they weren't there watching the game. Yeah, fair enough. I've actually never been to an NBA game, but I guess that definitely qualifies me. I can't talk about any NBA games. I've never watched an NBA game. In fact, I rarely even watch a full NBA game on the TV. Okay. 3, we've got to figure out how to take these mics away from people like this. And 4, stop watching basketball through calculators and spreadsheets. Yeah, okay. I actually like number 4. It's got some merit there. So now, I guess here's my problem with this post, is why I shared it with you. So if not anybody can talk about basketball, who can? I don't know, Nick. I don't know. Did we miss somewhere we had to qualify for the let's talk about basketball because we love basketball certification that in 2023 we can't just talk about the sport we love that we played our whole life, that we share our opinions and views firstly with each other and then to the greater community out there that likes basketball, and that's just that. And hell, because I guess I ain't been to no NBA game, nor do I rarely watch them on TV. We better all take these mics away from me, right? Or take these mics away from people like this. Because this dude, and I haven't seen his clip because this guy obviously cut his clip out and whatnot, but I'm going to imagine I've seen enough of these ones, and I'm sure you have too, right? People spout their opinions. Yeah, because people have opinions, and that is perfectly fine. That's what I'm trying to say here. That is perfectly fine. You can have your opinion. You can love MJ or LeBron, or you can say Kobe is the GOAT. I don't care, okay? Because you're entitled to your opinion. And if you want to watch basketball through calculators and spreadsheets or upside down in your underwear, well, you're welcome to too. I hope you love the sport of basketball as much as I do. But hey, I guess I'm not feeling like I should go to your house, pinch your mic, and say, "Hey, you're not qualified to talk about basketball." And I think when I sort of see these sort of posts, I go, "Are you nuts, man? Like, since when this made you freaking god of the world of basketball?" I don't know. That's my rant over. What's your 2 cents?
It's a lot to unpack. So, look, first and foremost, I would take the mic away from you when it comes to the Orlando Magic. But other than that, you're allowed to say what you need to say. I think, look, gatekeeping's a really dangerous thing to do, right? So when you gatekeep and you dictate what you can and can't comment on and what you can't say, one, it goes against the logic of the internet. And two, ultimately, all three of us, the original video, the reaction video, and then us, none of us theoretically have the authority to speak on the NBA because we haven't played in the NBA, if you want to get really particular. Statisticians have merit, eye test has merit, and then opinions also have merit. I would say watching the video, I would have loved to have heard the full video instead of cutting him off, just so that we can properly debate that. So I think that's an editing trick. I also think it's a very good video because it's got us talking, and I assume it had a lot of people talking as well. What you're trying to say is everyone should be able to discuss the NBA. I agree. I think you should be able to say something. You should be able to lay your facts out there, and then someone else should be able to react to that, right? So we've had videos where people just are adamantly saying we're completely off with different things. I think the important part to frame videos, and I would hope that I do this myself, it's hard to go through our 400 recordings, but preface it with, I think, right? I think that's the most important thing, that when you articulate an opinion, is that this is what I think. This is what I think we should do. And I recall our GM series in which we are pretending to be GMs, and this is what we think we should do if we were in this position. And a lot of people reacted negatively to some of the things that we pitched because, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just outlandish. It's outrageous. And I would hope, upon hindsight, if I rewatch them, that I have prefaced it with, this is what I think I would do if I were in this position. And when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, because I think we should touch upon the topic, and funnily enough, we touched upon it in a different recording. I think he is a very gifted scorer. There are other facets of the game that are important.
Wait. But before you go into Carmelo Anthony, should we place a disclaimer here that this is your opinion and that I should not, have a heart attack whether I agree or disagree with your opinion, and therefore that you may now proceed to share your opinion?
I mean, it's going to be a lot of work for an editor, but you're welcome to. I think, the scoring is incredible. Very good isolation scorer. He just didn't have a lot of other skills to warrant the winning, right? It's so easy to say, if we put him in a different person's career trajectory, what ends up happening? Well, the joy of basketball is that there's only 5 people on a court at any one time, and a lot of that can influence what does and doesn't occur. And Carmelo taking LeBron's place on his team, or Carmelo taking Kevin Durant's place on his teams, yeah, his career will be different because that's just the variables that you're changing there. But for better or worse, we really can't foresight that. I don't believe personally, if Carmelo was in LeBron's position, that he has the same level of success, e.g. getting to 10 straight finals. I don't believe that. I don't think he would have. I think if Carmelo Anthony was in Kevin Durant's position, I think he does win those 2 championships in Golden State, because I think that team was well designed enough to have that level of success. But those are my thoughts. I could back them up with stats and then just eye test stuff, so to speak. But ultimately,
win share total. Yeah, you used to harp
sure.
on
I
that
love
win
win
share.
shares.
I haven't heard win share from you for 6 months now. What happened to win shares, man?
I don't think you understood it, and I think it was too hard for you to understand it. So I just kind of gave up on using it.
Win shares, unions, and Maslow's theory. All right, I'll admit right
Maslow's
now,
hierarchy of needs. All right, go read it up.
This is currently not the topic I was recording for, but
I think everyone has a platform, right? It is the joy of social media. And perhaps as a society, we're starting to realize that everyone can pump out content. And ironically, we're doing it right now. But you will engage with us if you want to, and you won't engage with us if you don't want to. And maybe someone will react to us and just be like, who the hell are these clowns? I don't know. I would have loved to have heard the guy's full take. I think if you're going to actually structure something and counter someone's opinion, you should at least let the general audience hear the whole thing. Unless it's an elaborate design for us to go and listen to the other guys sing.
Hey,
And it's
look,
a
that
weird
that
promo
other
thing.
dude
I
looked
don't
like
know.
he probably put together like a 60-minute, like, seminar on, Carmelo's
He looked
scoring
ready. He
graphs.
looked ready to make that case.
So look, I guess at the end of the day, like I said at the start, this topic, has nothing really to do with Carmelo. You could insert any player in there that you're obviously feeling passionate about and that you want to represent. I think as we continue to involve ourselves in podcasts and obviously on social media, because that's how we share our content as podcasters, in the sense that it's been a real interesting sort of journey so far that we're going along right now with the increased engagement, and obviously, hopefully people also are going to engage with us with this, podcast and other content too. That give it to us, whatever it is. You can tell me you hate it or you tell me you love it. I really don't care. But to suggest that whatever I want to say or I've got to share that what I think is not worth sharing because, you know, not anybody can talk basketball. That's absurd. That's the most absurd thing I've heard all week. That's all, I guess. That's my summary here, that, that we have to stop anybody just talking basketball nowadays. That's absurd.
Well, again, it comes back to hearing his full case, right? So he never said that Carmelo Anthony was I think there are definitively bad takes. If you said Carmelo Anthony was a terrible scorer, I think there's enough data out there that says, well, clearly he wasn't. So there's tiers to your takes. Overrated and underrated are really subjective terms. And I think especially for players that have retired or maybe aren't in the current spotlight, we do forget. And we're all guilty of that. And I can't comment effectively on every player from the 80s and 70s and etc.
But I think what you're failing to remember here too is that at the end of the day, sometimes people are just dumb. People can be dumb, and their takes can be dumb, and they could have no logic to their takes, but they're still entitled to make their takes. This reminds me that, this guy, and I'll agree with this statement, that people probably should not watch basketball, okay, and comment on basketball solely on calculators and spreadsheets, which is probably the same as like coaches that I watch that sit there with their pieces of paper jotting down how many minutes each kid has played, and that this kid should play 14 minutes and this other kid has got 3 minutes left on his rotation, so we better take him off and put this guy on to get his 3 extra minutes, because that's how we work nowadays. But hey, look, if you want to coach that way, that's fine. If you want to comment on basketball that way, that's fine. But I think it's dumb, but you're still entitled to how you want to approach it, and that's fine. I guess I'll just click on the next video.
Well, I think definitely in that circumstance, based on the little bit of further research we did beyond the original video, the account that was cut off, shorthanded, potentially had very analytical based content, which you may be into. And then the reaction vid is very pro Carmelo if you do a tiny bit of stalking on the profile. So perhaps it's just a great clash of a very strong opinion on an eye test versus a very data driven person. And I think if you're going to be truly objective, or if you're going to be a really open scope, take it all in. Take it all in and then make your own mind up, right? So we both watched Carmelo and we both know what the stats are. I think I'm confident enough to say that he did not have the career that we wanted him to, and he made choices along the way that may have impacted that, e.g. going to New York when he maybe could have teamed up in Miami, for example. There's a lot of what ifs. That's the joy of our sport. Phenomenal scorer. I think the rest of his game relatively not great, and I don't think I need to give you stats to say that, because you just shouldn't talk about it if you only have stats. I don't know. Is that what I should have got out of this whole discussion?
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist in giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.